Hey guys, welcome into another edition of Lions Lounge. I am your host, Tyler. I'm joined as always by Sam as well. Jack could not make this one, but we will get him on here. I promise. We need to get his face in here and get his take as well. So, but I do appreciate you jumping on. Again, if you're new to us on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. That helps us out, helps us bring content to you. Hit the notification bell as well. That'll allow you to get the notifications when we put another video out. So that's pretty cool. Also, if you're listening on our podcast, we're in all the podcast world. Just search the Lions Lounge podcast on your favorite app. We're on Spotify, Apple iTunes, and the like. So just go ahead and search that, the Lions Lounge podcast, and you will hear our awesome episodes, in my opinion. And so today, Sam, we got some news today. I think over the last few days on some of the roster moves that we have. We've got the rookie OTAs. We've got the voluntary workouts. I think there's some pretty cool stuff. We've got Dan Campbell wearing a speed helmet, so it's kind of fun to, and some of the national media doesn't like that, which, I don't care. I think it's cool. So we can hit on some of that too, but I'm just going to open it up, man. There might be a little bit of a structure here with what I just laid out, but I think we're a free for all here, hit a couple minutes on a few things and then we can wrap it up. So give me your take, man.
All right. First thing I got to say is it feels good to go ahead and do another episode with you. It's been over a week and it feels like a lot longer. So I'm finally glad that we go ahead and share each other's thoughts on the amount of stuff that we've missed over the past week, which surprisingly has been a lot.
It's been busy. For sure.
But the first order of business on this episode I'd like to talk about is Todd Gurley. I was a little shocked at the beginning when I saw the reports of us talking to him, but then I thought about it some more. Again, like I said before, a couple episodes ago, do you want to go ahead and make the quarterback feel comfortable or protected when I was talking about Trevor Lawrence? And if you go ahead and bring in Gurley, who Goff has already played with for 3 seasons, I want to say, that's going to make him comfortable. And that would give us, I know people have said he's not the same running back that he was in college or what he was in the beginning of his career. Well, I don't think anybody is. I don't think anybody's the same as person as they are the year prior. But if we bring in Gurley, that would give us the best trio of running backs, I personally believe, in the entire NFL. You have Swift automatically number 1. Then you have Williams, who is honestly a mixture of both of Gurley and of Swift. He's got the speed, he can catch, he can block. And then you put in Gurley there on, if you want to say, kind of like what KJ's role was last season. That, to me, that is perfect trio right there to go ahead and help our running game. And especially that still means we can go ahead and put those 3 running backs in the same play on a play action pass, just like we were saying 5 episodes ago with when we still had carry on. So that doesn't change the fact of what we're going to run and who's going to start and stuff. The more and more I think about it, the more and more I like it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's a lot of people that are like, why are we signing these phenomenal backs so late in their careers? And I just pulled up Gurley's numbers here, and I think what he come in 15?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, 2015. So, that can't be right, is it? Yeah, 5 years. Okay, so his 6th year was last year. So, he's not old by any stretch of the imagination if you think about it age-wise. Now, he's got a lot of mileage here because he did some serious damage in the Rams and the St. Louis Rams and the LA Rams. I guess their years there. And the cool thing is the thing that strikes out to me right away is his availability. Going back to 2016, he's only missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. That's what it says. Game started, out of 16 games. So, and then you've got his playoff games in there when they were in there. So, I mean, he's there. He's here. I mean, he's got 6,082 career yards. That's not bad. He's got 67 total rushing touchdowns. And then you add to that, he's got 2,254 receiving yards with another 12 touchdowns in his career. So, I mean, if that's your third back and he's okay with that, I mean, not only that, he's going to bring valuable experience to this room. Obviously, Swift is going into his second year, and Williams, I think, is going into his fourth, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
So he's considered a vet, and I think Williams is going to help out that room anyways. I think he would have, whether it was KJ in there or not. And, just a side note, I think KJ is kind of getting screwed out of some money in Philly, but that's just a side note. Maybe we can hit on that in a minute. But I mean, I'm even looking at his numbers from Atlanta. I mean, he helped us out on one, so we know that. But I mean, you look at his numbers in Atlanta, he had 195 rush attempts. That's not for somebody who's washed up, in my opinion. He had 678 yards rushing, which we know Atlanta was kind of a dumpster fire anyways, at least last year. He had 9 rushing touchdowns. And add to that, he had 164 receiving yards. So, I mean, he even had a decent season there. So if you could get that in addition to what we have, maybe not even the receiving yards, but just the rushing yards, 400 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns, that's huge. Even if you had half of what he did last year, you've just gained. But I think you gain a lot with just that locker room, in my opinion. I think the years of experience that he has, one with Goff, I mean, that's just going to make Goff, you said it, it's going to make Goff quite a bit more comfortable because he's got a guy back there who he can trust. The coaching staff has somebody back here that they can trust. I think it's a good signing. It's almost like the Adrian Peterson signing, just much earlier in Gurley's career. Right. And I mean, even in Reggie Bush's instance, so you had Reggie Bush as well. So you have these prolific runners that are coming in at the back ends of their careers, but they still perform at a decent rate. I mean, Reggie Bush was phenomenal in a Lions uniform. I wish he would have stayed, but it is what it is. I think this could be a sneaky good signing. I'd be curious to see what money he's after because he's still interested. They're still talking. I heard that today. They are still in talks. Even though he left Detroit, doesn't mean he's not going to get a signing here. So I don't know if they're talking years or if they're talking dollars. Obviously, it's a mix of both, but is it a 1-year deal? Prove it deal? Is it a 2-year deal because you know the guy? Are you going to sign him to a vet minimum? Doubt it. I think he's got more production and more, I guess, stability in the league to get more than that. But would you settle for a 1-year, $5 million? That's a lot of money. I mean, that's the stuff we got to look at. But I will tell you, and maybe I'm jumping ahead in the episode here, some of the roster moves are making me think that they're going to go after this. So just a thought. Maybe I'm, jumping ahead on you a little bit here, but I was intrigued by it. I was excited by it. I think he would be a really good addition. And if it doesn't work out, depending on the money, you've got an easy out. So, and if he shows up and he's your third back and you can get something for him, then go out and do that too. But I think it might be a good signing. Just team-wise. I think just team-wise, it'll be a good signing.
And especially with our trouble that we've had, I would say in the past couple of years with the running back position, wasn't it 2 years ago in which we went through like 5 running backs, 6 running backs, in which we had to sign Bo Scarborough off the streets?
Yeah.
And I actually liked him. I thought he did pretty well for not playing football for over a year.
Yeah, and he come in and tore up the Cowboys. I mean, I guess you got to do that to the teams that pick you up originally, but no, I think it's a good move. It's kind of a win-win situation. I mean, Gurley still gets to play and you get some production. If it doesn't, then it's that low risk, high reward type situation, in my opinion. But yeah, I think it's a decent signing, and it sounds like there's mutual interest, which is also really good because that says a lot that, Gurley is a guy that has the resume. He could be a guy that wants to jump on these super teams, if you will, a Tampa or somebody that's close. I mean, obviously KC's not going to sign him because they've got a stable of backs there now. But somebody like that, like a Buffalo. Why wouldn't you go look at Buffalo? I think we keep saying Buffalo is a running back away from being a constant contender, and outside of the Lions, that's just a team I like to root for. Am I their fan? Yeah, I'm their fan because it's kind of cool to watch these underwhelming, underproven teams that one that we're following today with our Lions, that it's just you like to root for them, so I think that's one place that if I was Gurley and knowing that I was done, that's where I was going to go. So he obviously doesn't think he's done. He obviously likes what he sees here in Detroit. What's there to lose, I guess, is kind of what he's thinking. So it'll be interesting in the coming days, maybe a week or so, if he gets into it, because it sounded like, at least to me, Campbell was all on board with it. It's just a matter of what does the agent do, what does Gurley want to do, and when can they get him in here.
And the thing that I like is he's a pretty popular running back. He led the league a couple years ago. And yeah, he had, if you want to say, a down year with Atlanta. But the fact that he's interested in coming to Detroit during our new whole coaching scheme and new coaching staff, and say that he's very interested and intrigued by it, that just says a lot for the coaching staff and how little they've done in such a short amount of time. That just makes me happy and smile ear to ear, because we've never had a team like that actually makes such a huge impact on free agents in short little time like that.
Yeah, and I think you're only going to see that go up, especially if the winning starts happening, or you see the culture change instantly. I keep going back to the Pistons and liking it. I mean, I know it's a completely different sport. I get that, but you can completely flip a culture in one season, and they did, and it was fun. And even nobody likes losing. I mean, you ask anybody in the world today, do they want to win or lose? They're going to tell you win 100% of the time. But even in a loss, and you can say, man, yeah, we wanted the win, but that felt good. We're coming together. We've got this chemistry building between our starters. We've got this moxie coming in. We know what we are. We know what our identity is. We just need those missing pieces now to help get us over the hump. And if you can start getting like Michael Brocker's coming in, and he instantly fit in. I think Campbell was happy that he finally got him to come in and see what he can do. Now, judging defensive linemen and offensive linemen right now, this early in camp, is really difficult to do. So I don't want to say too much on that, just because we don't know until they get the pads on and they can run a little bit faster, or at more of a faster pace. But just his presence in there. I mean, he's a 9-year vet. I mean, he's a guy that's going to come in and be an instant starter, an instant impact player, in my opinion. And he's happy to be here. I mean, at least he looks the part. So yeah, I would say that interest there. I saw another report too about the potential of still landing Gurley, and then how Golden Tate had turned down a request. Now, is that true? I have no idea. I haven't looked into it. Was he ruined by the previous regime? Oh, absolutely. I think a lot of players were. And maybe he's just like, you know what? I'm still searching that championship. And the good. Go get it, man. You've got one. You've got the taste. Go get another one. Is it in Detroit? Probably not in the next few years, and we know that. You and I know that. But it's like, okay, there still could be some interest here from these high prolific players, and we'll have to see. And I think the barometer will be, what's this year, look like truly as a team, not necessarily your record. You may end up with 2 wins, 5 wins, 8 wins. I don't know. We don't know yet, but it could be successful in that. Okay, yeah, you only won 4 games, but in those other losses, those 13 losses, you lost by a combined total of 3 or less each game. You were in every game. You just need those pieces. Right. And that brings those guys here going, I want to help them win because they're so close based on what I see, especially those guys that are comfortable with the entire staff that we have. The staff wasn't all, yeah, they have some sort of relationship in one way or another. But if you look at each team that they came from, you're going to start seeing those guys that might be available in 2-3 years that, you know what, I'm going to go play for my coach because one, respected him, and two, they're close. And you might start seeing that. So, and Gurley's, I think, case in point, he respected his quarterback and he likes the management that came from the Rams. We might have a shot for him. And obviously he's going to play. And Anthony Lynn said today, we're going to play the hot hand. Whoever's running the best right now, I don't care who your name is. If you're not running right, that guy is, he's running, and I would hope that those vets would stand up and say, yeah, darn right, get him in there and play. But that's the culture I'm hoping we see. And that's the culture I think that they're trying to push. So.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's getting me more excited each and every day, especially with the OTAs. Man, once the rookie camp started and we brought in all the undrafted and ones that we drafted and all that, I'm telling you, I'm getting even more hyped up about this season.
Yeah, it's a different feeling. I don't know how to explain it, describe it, any of that stuff, because we're always like, as a Lions fan, you're so hard up for wins that any little thing can make you hope or feel like that they're going to do something and then they let you down. That's where that whole moniker of the same old Lions came in. They may have same old Lions moments, I think, this year, but I don't think they're going to be those, I guess, those ones that stick out like a sore thumb. Those are going to be the ones where it's like, man, they could have done better, based on what we know, or man, they really should have pulled that out. But here's the thing. They're going to lose to teams they probably should win to against this year. And they're going to win against teams that they probably should get blown out by. I mean, that's just the NFL. Every team is good in this game, no matter their record. Any team can beat any team on any given day. We know that. So we'll see what happens. But I think it's a different, and that's what I like about it, because it's like we could probably stand up to a lot of these guys that we play this year, whether we pull the win out or not. And I'm okay with that. And that's a strange feeling to have as a Lions fan. I can't tell you how many games I've watched that they've lost, either that they should have won, they were favored by, or just ones that I wanted them to pull out. And as a young kid, I was disappointed for 3 days afterwards. You know what I mean? and even last year was just frustrating to watch. But this year, at least what I see, I'm probably going to sit down and enjoy most of those games, whether they win or not, and be okay with it. And that's just weird to me right now. So, and so I'm hoping we can pull in some of these vets that, can help us win and do all that stuff. But yeah, it's just an odd feeling. And I wish I could explain it. I really do. It's just a different feel for sure.
Now to move our conversation. Now, I was a little bummed about Jason Cornell when I saw the report about him today. I missed not seeing him last year. It sucks that he tore his Achilles. And that's one hell of an injury to come back from. So if he's able to go ahead and put that past him and the stuff that just came out, man, I give all power to him, because then he's going to really fight for a starting job or at least a playing time. But when the first thing that I was happy about or glad was that he immediately took responsibility for it. He didn't BS it. He didn't say, oh, well, this or that. He took responsibility. He took responsibility of his own actions, and he apologized for it up front right away, not even giving the media a chance to go ahead and give their own story on it. To me, he acted like a grown man in the NFL should always act. And that just shows his maturity on and off the field. And I really don't believe that he's ever going to make this mistake again.
Yeah, so you've got those guys that, you look at them and you go, yeah, right. Whatever, your agent told you to say it, he wrote it down, whatnot. I mean, you can tell they're scripted. This was not scripted, in my opinion. And if I'm going to pull it up, see if it's on here, but apparently he said, He was informed today by the NFL that he would have to miss his first 3 games of this season. Last year, after losing a dear friend of mine, I made the mistake that was out of my character. I have owned it and I've worked on learning from it. So, I mean, it's exactly what you just said. So, there are people that need help. Everybody's going to have a problem with that. If that substance is in there and that's what you look to it for, you've got a problem. I'm sorry. I mean, you got to admit to it, and he did. So he's obviously getting help. And in the little bit of videos that we saw online, he looked pretty physical in that, and some of those looked like he put on some muscle mass, looked like he came back from that Achilles. It looked like he was trying to keep it out of his mind. A lot of times you look at those Achilles injuries and those major knee injuries and stuff, and it stays in people's mind. I think that's what happened with Carrion half the time. But he looked like he was well on his way, and I was rooting for him. I really was. I root for most 7th-round picks anyways, just because that's cool. They made it. It's just barely, but they made it. But the fact that he was coming back strong, and then obviously this hit him and he's taking it in stride. I mean, he's not making a ton. He's making way more than you and I, but he's not making a ton compared to some of these guys. So a 3-game check is probably pretty pricey, which will help you learn quickly, because you got to pay for those classes that you're in, so hopefully he gets back, turning around. When I saw the report come out, I thought, well, man, he's probably gone, but in last year's regime probably would have been gone. This year's regime, I think they look at it and go, okay, he's getting his help. Let's help this guy. So yeah, that was kind of a bummer move there. I was really kind of looking forward to him. I didn't watch him a ton. I mean, obviously he was in the games that I watched the Michigan games play, but in some of the highlights that I've watched of him, I mean, he's getting to the quarterback. So, I mean, he doesn't have a ton of game experience or game time, at least what I saw, compared to a Chase Young or something like that. But there was production there for sure. And I think he could have been a nice cog in that line to get some surprising stats. So I was really rooting for him this year.
And the thing is, people make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. So, and it sucks. A lot of people went ahead and made mistakes throughout COVID. It happens. But I'm just reiterating what I already said. He owned up to it, and that's right then and there. I'm fine with it. I'm already, if you want to say, forgave him or whatever. But he truly wants, I truly think that he wants to play really badly for us. And the fact that he's already taken the steps without even being told or being asked to take the steps just shows that he's willing to do whatever it takes to get back onto the field.
Yeah. He was obviously raised right. I mean, that's what your parents teach you, hey, you do a problem, you own up to it, you fix it, and you're fine, so yeah, I'm rooting for him too, Sam. I really am. I think it's already water over the bridge for me. So, or water under the bridge, whatever the saying goes. I don't really care. He's fine. We'll move on with Deshaun. I think obviously this is a 3-game timeout, and he'll get better for it, honestly. So that brings me into the other part of the D line. So you're going to lose him for 3 games, and then you lose John Atkins now because he was cut. I don't think that was a surprising move. And I think the coaching staff, in my opinion, and maybe you have something different, they did him a favor by releasing him now. Because obviously with the 2 guys we drafted, you've got Strong still there. You've got Brockers. You've got Flowers that can play inside. You've got Okwara that can obviously slide in there as well. And you've got Penasini. Where was this guy going to play? And so now this allows him, who I think is a decent player. I don't think he's one of those guys you want to throw on your practice squad and just waste away. Somebody's going to snatch him. Guess what? Open up that roster spot. Let somebody else take it. Receiver, safety, defensive lineman. Well, they got Price now too. So that, I mean, what do you do? I guess I'm kind of eating my words there because they signed another defensive lineman. So I think these are kind of just shuffling the deck of who's going to help you now. And, but it does allow John Atkins to jump on with another team at this point because of the position that he plays. So that's my opinion on John Atkins. So good luck to you, John.
Yeah, and piggybacking off what you said, honestly, if he's really that good, then I'm happy for him that we let him go, that he gets another opportunity somewhere with another NFL team. But at the end of the day, like you already said, he's not going to get any playing time. We already have, honestly, I would say the best defensive line that we've had in almost 10 years.
Yeah, and you said that with the Ansa and the Sues and the, the Fairleys and the such, the Johnsons, all those guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know a little bit about Brian Price, because of, the Packers days that he had. I do remember him making some splash plays here or there. He obviously wasn't a long-term starter or anything, but I just think it's kind of one of those, lower parts of the depth chart type moves, just to see who you got. You're trying to figure out who best fits your system. Obviously, Atkins was probably trumped by a couple other guys, like we had mentioned. I mean, he's a bigger dude. I think he's more of that huge interior defensive tackle. Maybe not necessarily a nose guard with his skill set, but his size was definitely there. But if you've got Penasini and McNeil, and you've got Onzarike, who can also play DT, I mean, I don't even think Price is going to take that long to stay on this roster. I think they just did it to make that move. But it's kind of those late round guys, undrafted guys, those guys that are looking to get a career in this league, and you got to shuffle the deck and best man wins. So, but this does give John a chance to jump on with somebody that hopefully can use his skill set. So I think it's a good move by the coaching staff, and I like that they still bring people in. So yeah, D tackle for D tackle. It's kind of an odd move, but we'll see what Price can bring to the table. Obviously, Green Bay wanted him. They tried to snatch him a couple times off of practice squads before, when he was in Cleveland and Dallas. I believe they tried at both places, and then he signed with them, and then they let him go, and now he's with us. It's a really weird relationship that they have with the Packers. But, they obviously have weird relationships going on with most of their players, but that being said, then the other report that came through is Nick Bodden has now been released. And that brings me back to my original thought is this going to open up a spot for Mr. Gurley?
No.
Okay. Just saying. I mean, I know he's not going to play fullback. I'm just saying he's in the running back room. But
it's just the fact that we released 3 people in the span of a week, and I'm like, oh, maybe Gurley gets signed here. Nope. And maybe Gurley gets signed this day. Nope. Somebody else brings it in. Maybe he gets signed. Nope. Another D tackle. I'm a little surprised, because I really thought this new regime was going to go ahead and give him an option to go ahead and chance option to go ahead and get that starting role again, because it sucks that he was derailed by injuries his first 2 seasons. Missed, I think I saw 38 games.
Yeah, it's rough. They were early injuries.
Yeah, and it sucks because you can't help somebody getting injured. Mm-hmm. But I liked what I saw when he played. I'm not a big fan of Kabinda. Not going to lie. I would rather have him as a linebacker. He did a decent job filling in at fullback last year. But I would rather have somebody else, maybe like Hausman, the tight end from Ohio State. He can honestly play. He's a very athletic tight end, and he killed it in high school. It just, at Ohio State, we didn't really use tight ends back then throughout Urban Meyer's time there, and still don't. So I really think that if you want to have a fullback battle, it's either Kabinda or Hausman.
Yeah, you bring up a good point there with Hausman too, because I mean, obviously our coach is going to favor the tight end. We're going to play that game. But no, I completely kid. I think Hausman pretty much got housed in the draft, just for the fact that I think he could have been drafted. It was just such a deep class just in general. So we've talked about that multiple times over. So there were a lot of good players that were in undrafted free agency there. And yeah, you're right. I mean, he's an athletic dude who can play a big receiver. He can play tight end. He can block. He can get on the line. He can be up at the goal line packages. He can catch. He wasn't used very much, so maybe some of that untapped potential can be unleashed a little bit. And then if he's in there interested to play that H-back role, I mean, obviously we signed Hill for that role anyways. So, and he went and he's gone. He went away. So it's just the fact that you've got those guys that can play that way. And you look at McKinley from Notre Dame, and he's a big body receiver. Mm-hmm. So what's his role going to be? And I think honestly, he could probably make the team as well. He showed out in camp. But could those two guys play that H-back role? And how many times are you really going to play a fullback anyways? Especially could you, right. I talked to a guy just the other day at work, and he's a big Lions fan as well. So I'm going to give Dave a shout out, but he and I were talking, and he mentioned something, and I've thought about this before, just haven't thought about it in a while. He says, where's the wishbone packages? Wishbone used to be huge in the day. And he said there was one day he was watching, I don't know if it was the XFL or whatever those other weird leagues that he was watching, but he said he had 2 NFL caliber backs that were on the field 100% of the time. And they played a lot of wishbone, and they were successful because you never knew which back was getting the ball. One minute you'd run this guy, and the next time you'd line up in that same format, and then he would catch the ball out of the backfield. And then you'd line up in the same format. You didn't know if this guy was going to get it again, but then this guy got it on the handoff. And then the next play, he'd come back, this guy got on the catch. So they're 2 guys that are basically eating up entire playbook, but it's effective, because now you got 2 guys who can run and catch. Could you do some of those packages? Could you do 2 split sets like we were talking about? Could you do 3 receivers if you did end up getting Gurley, 3 running backs, 1 playing receiver area, whatever? Today, Lynn said that they played both Williams and Swift in the slot. They played a lot of out receiver positions, and they both excelled very, very well in them. I think one was, I can't remember the corner's name, but I guess Swift juked him out, or no, it was Williams juked him out of his shoes basically and taunted him all the way to the end zone. And then you're supposed to do that. Basically saying, hey, don't forget this number. You're just going to happen to you a lot, but it's exciting to see. And I guess nobody on our team can cover Swift. One, that scares the crap out of me because there's a lot of backs out there that are similar to Swift. And 2, that's also cool because he could do that to other teams. So if your own team is stopping you, your offense is very good, especially with the bad back end that we have in our defense. But I say bad. Historically, it's not been good over the last few years, but yeah, so I think the Bodden one was a little surprising. I'm on the fence with you there, just for the fact that, this could have been his chance, his make or break year. To truly see if he's just made of glass in his lower extremities or if he could actually do something. And I mean, in college, he had the frame to do something. Maybe he just did a little too much and he can't get away from those knee injuries and his leg injuries. So, yeah, it's a bummer for him for sure. But again, it's early. He could still catch on to somebody and take off. Maybe New England needs a fullback. I mean, you're going to see those familiarity places come up with some of these guys, and they're going to latch on somewhere. Like an Atkins could end up in New England as well. He was brought in by that former regime. So I think you're going to start seeing some of those castaways be swept off to the teams that they were comfortable with. So yeah, that was kind of an interesting one. And then that was pretty much it, really, with the roster reports. I think we caught on with Penei Sewell on his comments there of switching over to right tackle. And people were kind of like, oh, crap, here we go. What do you expect? The guy's played left tackle so well for so long, has never played on the right side. So, of course, you go ahead and write with your left hand for a while or your opposite hand for a while. You know what I mean? It's going to take a moment till you figure it out. Go ahead and swing from the other side of the plate in baseball. I mean, you're going to look a fool for your first few swings. I guarantee it. He'll be fine. He's smart enough based on what I saw. once he gets that mirror image of being able to kick with his other leg or, get his hand positions, get set and all that stuff and understand call, he'll be fine.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, no
So
doubt. And the fact that some people were saying, well, why don't you have Decker slide over to right tackle and put Sewell where he's more comfortable? I'm like, so you're going to go ahead and put a 5 or 6 year vet and move him over? No. Are you kidding me? That's no. You would rather go ahead and get a young rookie who's able to learn so very fast, put him at a position that right now you need a person badly because we don't really have a right tackle right now. And you go ahead and let him learn. And so far, I think he's learning pretty fast. And with the veterans that we have on our offensive line, he's going to, like you just said, he's going to learn it in no time. And he's probably going to be the best right tackle in the entire NFC North.
yeah, I would say so too. And the good news is that, I'm hoping he shows up, which I think Campbell says that he has a good feeling he will, but we still have Crosby. I mean, a lot of people forget that Crosby was a decent right tackle last year. They just want to give him crap because he was a late round pick. You want those star-studded names. You want those guys that are. Crosby did just fine. I was upset and we talked about this. I was upset when we heard that he was going to get traded potentially as trade bait. So, yeah, that would kind of peeve me off a little bit too if I was Crosby saying, "Wait a minute, I did pretty well last year, and you're not even going to give me a shot at this." I mean, I know you brought
Right.
a rookie in, but can't I be the opening day starter? That sort of stuff you got to look at. Could Sewell be a guard? Yeah, I think he could, but I would rather him be where his natural position is. And obviously that's filled by
Right.
Taylor Decker, which that's not a problem with me. I think Decker's done just fine. So, yeah, I think, would I be upset if Crosby wasn't the starter? No, but would I be upset that he's not on this team? Yeah, I think so. I think you need that guy that can play either side of that tackle box.
Yes.
And he can play guard too. That's what's nice about Crosby. Now, does he play it well? Sure. I mean, he did okay. It's not his natural position, but again, you got a guy who can play three positions. Why would you get rid of that? And
Right.
those guys are valuable in my opinion. And some of those guys do need breathers depending on where you play. Look, we play in Denver this year and late in the season.
Yep.
Somebody's going to need oxygen. That air is going to be thin. You need a guy that you can plug and play and you can trust. And that's a guy. I don't see you getting rid of those type of guys. Same with cornerback. Those guys, I mean, that's the hardest position to play on the field, honestly, hands down, because one, you have no idea outside of video or scouting, that you do with the film study, but you have no idea where they're going unless there's some tall tale sign that says, okay, he's flanking this way, or I can make the break this way. But if you got guys there that are, you run 70 yards down, and then the next play you run 70 yards down, that receiver comes out, you're still in. I mean, you just ran 140 yards plus what you ran back to get to the huddle. You got to you got to hand it to those cornerbacks. And if you could have a guy that could be like your sixth man off the bench that could just fill in, like, hey, I need a breather. I'm tapping my helmet, get me in here. And he pops in and doesn't give up a catch. Those are the guys you need. And I feel like Crosby's that guy on the line. I don't think he should go anywhere. And I think he should be in camp and he should be paid as a good backup. It's my opinion.
I definitely agree. Not, I wouldn't pay him as much as Vaitai.
Oh, no.
uh,
No.
yeah, no. But I agree with you. He is the perfect player that you want. That, for instance, if Decker for some reason gets injured, or a guard, or any tackle, any player gets injured, he is the person that you're immediately going to look at and say, get your ass in there. And he's going to perform way better than anybody expects. And that's exactly what happened last year. And I can honestly say I was surprised by how well he was performing last year. Because just like Jonah Jackson, they both were shoved in there like, oh crap, now what do we got to do?
Mm-hmm.
And they played pretty damn well I'm like, hey, and if he's willing to go ahead and fight for that starting job, then by all means, keep him on the team. Let's see how this goes.
That's what I like about this coaching staff. They're not forcing players into position.
Mm-mm.
Yes, Swift might be taking the first team reps right away, but it's Anthony Lynn said it again today. It's an open competition. They know who their starter is going to be. Just because you're a starter doesn't mean you're going to outtouch everybody in the world on that team. Same thing with the offensive line. We all think that Sewell is going to be the opening day starter. First round picks that high, especially, should be your opening day starters. However, in that spot, if you're sitting for a few games and you're learning, or if Crosby can play that entire season and you sit down after not playing last year, I'm okay with that too. A lot of people are going to hate me for saying that, but some really good players come out of this league after sitting 1 year and
Yeah.
learning and beefing. I mean, he's going to bulk up. It's going to be crazy. Year over year, he's going to be a bigger guy because you've got a professional nutrition staff, you got a professional strength and training staff, you've got state-of-the-art equipment that you're playing with. You're training year round now. You don't have to focus on school or the draft or any of that stuff anymore, assuming he's graduated or whatever. But it's going to be hands down a better season for him next year. And if he has to sit and learn and play spot starts here or there, so be it. I mean, but everybody's going to be at the coaching staff's neck saying, why is your first round pick number 7, not playing? And if Crosby's playing lights out, that's my answer. And I think I would say that's what the coaching staff's going to do with every position on here. Just because you are a big name or were last year, I don't care. We're playing the hot hand. And if you're playing well, you're playing today. And
Right.
and if there's a guy that's struggling and he can't fix those mistakes, then he expects the next guy, i.e. Crosby, to come in and play lights out. And if he doesn't, then you got a problem. But I mean, although Nelson, he came in and there were a couple games where it's like, when did Nelson come in? I didn't even know he came in. So he was doing his job. So I see him fighting pretty well for a backup tackle spot. Even Dan Skipper, when he came in, I'm like, when did Skip come in? But it's those are the guys you want. And I see us building that everywhere on this team. I think that's going to be really cool. And I'm super stoked for next year. I don't want to rush the year away because I want to watch all of this, but I cannot wait till next offseason. That's going to tell me where we're at as a team for sure.
Yep.
We're seeing some foundation here, which is what I saw with the Pistons in their draft. But, and I think you're starting to see that with the Wings. Kind of, they want to get that identity. The Tigers are slowly getting back to it. They want to get that identity. What are they doing? One of these teams has to turn around quicker than the other. And I'm really hoping it's the Lions here in the next few years. So,
yeah.
And we hit on that before, in our other episodes there, but so that's all I've got for today. Is there anything else you want to jump in on, or something that we might have missed, or kind of segue into the next episode we hope to get on here real shortly?
So I just got 2 short questions. I just want to hear your opinion. I want to hear your opinion first on the jersey numbers, specifically Jamie Collins, and also the impact so far that Okuda has had on the field during OTAs.
Well, let me start with Okuda. I read a couple stories on him. He's got a completely different attitude. His mindset has changed from in the dumps to on top. From what I understand, his confidence level is soaring right now, and they're playing it because he's been, at least early on, he's been the guy that they've pegged as the starter. I think the first full time with the vets, he was with Dunbar, and then today he was with Owarie. So he's kind of that staple. Now I might be eating my words tomorrow, and it might be Amani and it might be Dunbar tomorrow, but and I would expect that too, because you want to see your continuity between your guys. But from what I understand, he's doing pretty darn well. I wish he took number 1 jersey. I think if you're doing that, just because I like that, I like Slay. Don't get me wrong. I love Slay, but everything about him is kind of following that trend. I just really hope that I think Slay got into his own head a couple times, which kind of hurt him. I might get beat up for that as well, but um, I think Jeff Okuda is a little bit more level-headed in that regard. Like he's not full of himself. Maybe he is. You might have a better take on that, but from what I see on the surface, he's kind of this humble guy, but he's hungry. And I think you're going to see him get his hand on some passes. I think I read Goff's 7-on-7 was 8 of 9 his first set and 7 of 9 his second set today. And obviously, take that with a grain of salt. You're not being rushed. You should be almost 100% on a lot of that stuff. Hands down, he was better than all the quarterbacks out there. But two of the three deflections that were out there, one was by Amani and one was by Jeff, and they were sticky coverage. So that's saying a lot, right early on, that they're playing really well and they're playing sticky coverage. So yes, I think Okuda will be just fine. I'm excited for him. I think you're going to see him he may give up some big plays because I think he's going to be more aggressive this year. He was kind of timid, sat back. The scheme hurt him anyways, because they always had him, yes, 3, 4, 5, 10 yards behind, or they'd come up and then back off 10 yards before the snap. I hated that. I've hated that ever since. I've hated that in every regime that's been here. Why are you playing so freaking far off the ball? Get up there, be physical, and stay on them is what I really like. And I think that's what we're going to see here. The jersey numbers are going to get some taken used to. I mean, college, you're so used to it. But the NFL, It just looks weird on an NFL jersey to me. But hey, I like it. I mean, I think everybody who's played sports has their number. And I think it just, do you play better? Yeah, I think you do. I think you get that, hey, I got my number. I look good. I feel good. It just gives you that little bit of a, I don't know, moxie, if you will. I mean, as a little kid, I always remember signing my name and putting my number. I mean, so to be made to wear a number, it's kind of a bummer. But to be able to open it up now and do what the NFL is allowing them to do, especially this season, I mean, they're getting a lot out of it on some of these guys. They're getting a lot of money for their jerseys pay back, but on some of these guys, I mean, I don't see a ton of Jamie Collins jerseys out there. So he's probably like, yeah, shoot, if it's this amount of money, I mean, he's got enough money to give anyways, based on his contract, but yeah, he'll look fine in that number 8, which ultimately opened up Penei Sewell's number, which was his father's number when he played in his days. And so I thought that was kind of cool. So it's like a tattoo. These guys have meaning behind these numbers, and it's cool to be able to see them pick what they want. So that's my quick opinion on it. It's going to get some taken used to, but I think it's cool.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I was surprised by when the NFL said that if you want to change your numbers, then you got to go ahead and buy the jerseys or go ahead and pay the rest of them. So I was surprised by the amount of jersey changes, especially Okuda already, which I don't even know why he chose 30. I know 23 was already taken, but there's another number that he could have chosen. But like you said, it's going to getting used to, especially seeing the linebackers with single digit numbers. That's something that you normally see in college. It's going to be like, wait, who's 8? Yeah. Oh, Jamie Collins. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be, I'm hoping it's not, but it'll be look at 8. He just hit a hit. And then the next play be like, check 8, get moving. Come on. Stop. Well, Parsons for Micah Parsons for Dallas is wearing number 11. Anzalone's got 34. You don't normally see a running back number out there on linebackers, but it's just cool. I think it's good on the NFL to be able to do that. It'll be interesting to see some of these lower numbers and how they perform. And I mean, the rookie receivers taking single digit numbers and stuff like that. Yeah, I think it's cool. And you look at our guys. I don't think any receiver. Well, I think Tyrell Williams has number 6. That's going to get some taken used to, but I got to thinking too, it's like, what's Gurley going to pick if he comes here? Because 30's taken by another running back. 21's taken because he had that one. He had 7 in college, so that's not going to work. So what number do you go? You can't take 3 because that's our all-star, all-state punter, which I'm sure he would give it up for Todd Gurley. But, does he wear 33? Now you got Carry On's number there. But so it'll be interesting to see what happens on some of these guys. And I think going back to Okuda, I think he was going to take 28 until they signed Peterson. So, I like it. It'll be cool. We'll see what happens. I think you'll see a lot more of it next year for sure. A lot of switches in the offseason, stuff like that, once they get those jersey sales out of the way. One more thing. What do you think of Tebow? The Tebow Nation. He's got the number 1 and number 2 selling jersey right now, speaking of jerseys.
Honestly, some people hate Tebow.
Oh, I love Tebow. Why. I love Tebow.
Exactly. I give him so much credit because I don't think he ever should have left the NFL, because he took the Broncos and won a playoff game for the first time in I don't know how long. And then the very next year he's gone. And then he gets shipped to, you got the Eagles, the Jets, the Patriots. They all did not give him a true chance to go ahead and start. Of course, the Patriots, because you had Tom Brady at the time. And then you have Butt Fumble Sanchez at the Jets.
Yeah.
So it's just like.
Did he play for the Eagles too? He played for the Eagles when Vic was there, right?
Yes. He only was on the practice squad and then got promoted for a short time and then was released before the actual season started.
Yeah.
So I give him a lot of credit. He's 34, I want to say. I give him a lot of credit for trying again because he was in the MLB for the last 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I give him credit for going out of his comfort zone and trying that. But I like it.
I do too. The guy's ripped too. I mean, I think he's going to take it. He'll be fine. He'll be just fine.
He is jacked. He is jacked. Like no tight end in the NFL looks that jacked.
No.
And I really hope he does well.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville's going to surprise some people this year, and he's going to be a part of it. I mean, he may not be a focal point. Maybe he will. I don't know. Urban Meyer, he might do something with him, but yeah, I like our tight end. I think everybody in our coaching staff likes our tight end, so I'm gonna go with our tight end over Tebow. Yep. But I like Tebow. It's good for the NFL. I guess, I mean, he's got his fans, all that stuff. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens. So, but yeah, unless you've got something else, man, I think I'm all cleared up, at least with what I have talked about today.
No, I think that was it. Yeah, I just had the 2 questions, and then I'm glad that you brought up Tebow. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, Tebow. I mean, when I flipped on there and they were doing the jersey sales and stuff, I saw that, and he was number 1, number 2 with the white and the black jersey. So it'll be a fun one to watch. Just one of those storylines that you want to kind of watch, keep tabs on through the season. So, but yeah. Man, I appreciate you coming in, stopping in for this little bit. I know we only did it for maybe 40 minutes or so, but hey, it's always good to talk Lions. And, hopefully I can get this thing streaming so we can get some live chat next time. I think that'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a big switch up. So, but I do appreciate everybody stopping into the YouTube channel. As always, it's a big help for you to hit that subscribe button so we can put some more content out there. The more people that subscribe, you play with the algorithms and we get in front of some of those other ones and it's a lot of fun. So we do appreciate those that are supporting. And likewise on the Anchor app or the podcast apps that you listen to. Again, it's an algorithm thing, got to play the math. And it's just a lot of fun to be able to bring this content to you. So, so hang around with us this whole season and off season and into the future, hopefully. And what we want to do is be able to converse via Twitter. So hit us up on Twitter. We'll post the Twitter handles down below in the video, and I'll post them also on the podcast app. But follow us on Twitter, interact with us. That gives us some ammo to do these videos and the podcast streams with us. So And hopefully, Sam, we can get Jack on here again.
Yeah.
I feel like people are thinking we're forgetting him. We are not, Jack. Thank you for your support. And we'll get you on here, buddy. But and I would like to get some other people on here as well. So maybe we can start reaching out for that. So
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, man. Well, you have yourself a good evening. And as always, go Lions.
One pride.
That too. We'll get this. It's like a fist bump, high five, All right, man. Well, you have a good evening.
All right, man. You too.
Take care.
Peace.